Hi everyone. So I've decided to start recording these videos because I currently do not have my slide software, and I also don't have the time to type and edit the text that goes on the videos. So rather than not put out any videos, I've just decided to record the audio. If you would rather read the content but then listen to it, I would still add the content in the Imithi Yesintu blog, and the link to the blog will be in the description below. So yeah, my name is Faith, and I am the creator of this YouTube channel, and I'm also a creator of the Imithi Yesintu blog. So a bit about myself. I'm by profession, I used to be a forester. So I studied forestry. I learned about trees at school. But I grew up in a home where I was taught traditional medicine. My great grandfather was a traditional healer, Begainyanga. My grandfather was a prophet who also used traditional medicine. And I'm also a healer myself. So in 3 different generations, we healed differently. So my grandfather used traditional medicine to heal. My great grandfather used traditional medicine to heal. My grandfather used spirituality to heal, and I use meditation. So I'm a meditative energy healer. I also use traditional medicine. So I own a traditional medicine store in Joburg. Yeah, maybe later I will sell my products online as well, but for now I just only have in a physical store. So I created this channel because I'm very passionate about traditional medicine, and I like to teach people about traditional medicine. So every time I would meet young people, they would always associate traditional medicine with ubutagati. So that used to annoy me very, very much. So I created this channel to sort of bring the scientific research behind the use of traditional medicine. So instead of like just looking at the spiritual aspect of traditional medicine, I also wanted to combine that with a bit of scientific background, so that even the people who are skeptic about using traditional medicine might be won over to use traditional medicine. So I grew up using traditional medicine only. I've never, growing up, I never used any other medicine, and I never got sick, like ever. So I I know that it works, and so yeah, I also want to promote spirituality and not just mindless religion, but that's just something else. So that is me. Yes, so in this video, I am going to discuss Isibhaha. I'm going to talk about Isibhaha, also known as Warburgia salutaris. So Isibhaha is scientifically known as Warburgia salutaris, like I said. So it gets the name Warburgia salutaris from Dr. Otto Warburg, a former lecturer in botany at the University of Berlin, Germany, and he was also the author of several botanic papers. So in English, Isibhaha is known as the pepperbark tree, not to be confused with the paperbark acacia or the paperbark tree. So the paperbark, which is a very different tree, not Isibhaha, it has a paper-like bark, but Isibhaha is known as a pepper. So if you cut the bark, the inner part of the bark will have a very strong pungent smell, and the smell will be very, very similar to pepper. So it has like a very peppery, even the taste, like it has like a very peppery taste. So the taste of the inner bark of this tree of Isibhaha has a peppery taste. That's why it's known as a pepper bark tree. So this tree is indigenous to South Africa. It's one of the most widely used and widely traded medicine species in Southern Africa, and it is extensively harvested for its bark. So the other parts of the tree are also useful, but the main part that is used commercially for spiritual purposes is the bark. So in the past, the Warburgia salutaris or Isibhaha used to be monitored and regulated. So its harvesting used to be monitored and regulated. But because of the increase in demand for the tree's bark due to the spiritual significance as well as the economic viability of the bark, the harvesting increased quite significantly, and most of the harvesting was illegal. And because some of the people who were harvesting the bark were not skilled harvesters, what ended up happening was there would be a severe. So how the tree is harvested is you remove the bark from the tree. So if you know a little bit about trees, you'll know that between the bark and the tree, there's something called a cambium. And when you're harvesting the bark, you should never touch the cambium, because the minute you damage the cambium of the tree, then the tree dies. So what happens is, if you have unskilled debarkers or unskilled people removing the bark of the tree, they will cut the cambium of the tree, leading to the death of the tree. So most of the illegal harvesting resulted in most of the trees that were being harvested dying. So the illegal harvesting and severe debarking, which was caused by the unskilled debarkers, most often resulted in the high tree mortality. And in some areas, like for example Zimbabwe, the tree ended up just being extinct. In countries like South Africa, the tree is listed in the I don't know if you know the IUCN Red List, so the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List. It's a list of all the threatened species. So any tree that is in danger of going extinct is normally put on that list. So Isibhaha is also on that list because of the illegal harvesting and the severe debarking. In South Africa, it's not just listed on the endangered list as well, it's also listed in the priority list. So a priority list is like a list of all the trees that require protective measures, and they require special management guidelines to be put in place to prevent that tree from going extinct. So it's on the priority list as well as the endangered list. Okay. So Isibhaha is used not just in South Africa but all over the world. And different parts of the world use Isibhaha for different uses. So this tree is like a magic tree. So Isibhaha has so many properties. That's why it's used all over the world. It has antibacterial properties, it has antifungal, antimicrobial, antibiotic, antioxidant, and many other important properties. So that's why it's so much in demand, and that's why it's on the endangered list, because so many people want to use this tree, and different parts of the world use it for different reasons. For example, in America, this tree is used to treat various types of sexually transmitted diseases like STDs. It's also used to treat abnormal and smelly discharge in females. In other parts of the world, it's used to treat malaria. In South Africa, I know it's commonly used to treat colds and coughs and throat and mouth sores. It's also used to treat body pain, muscle pain, and weak joints. It's used for stomach ache and constipation. So the bark of the tree, like I said, it's the most used part of the tree. So what happens is the bark is harvested and it's dried and it's grounded. So a grater. And then once it's ground into powder, I know that my grandfather used to also use it as a sniff. So you'd sniff it and then what it does is it clears your nasal cavity. So if you have sinuses, then you can use Isibhaha, the powder, the dried powder, to clear your nasal cavity. The leaves, like I said, the tree is called the pepper bark tree, and that's because of the peppery taste and the peppery smell. So you can use the leaves to add like peppery flavor to food as well as your tea. The wood of the tree can also be used for many different things. For example, it has very strong structural properties, so you can use it for building. You can also use it for firewood. Isibhaha is also used as an aphrodisiac, which is used for naturally stimulating sexual desire in both men and women. And in most traditional medicine spheres, it's considered as one of the best ingredients for making impinda, which is also known as return back to sender. So whenever you want to return back to sender something that somebody sent to you, you can use Isibhaha. Isibhaha has so many like uses. It's one of the most versatile ingredients that you can use in any type of umuthi. It's also very similar to, I don't know if you know umviyo. So Isibhaha is kind of similar to that. It can be used with anything. Like you can mix Isibhaha with just about anything, So in most witchcraft spheres, it's used to defend yourself. So I'll talk about umvuyo. When I talk about umvuyo, I'll sort of touch on Isibhaha again, because those two are very similar how they work in terms of like versatility. You can, like I mentioned, you can use it in just about anything. Whenever you're making any type of umuti, you can add Isibhaha to that. And it will be very, very effective, especially once you've grounded it and made it into powder. So my grandfather, I think, used to mix Isibhaha nejeli bovu. And then he'll use it in the home for protection and stuff. So you grate ijeli bovu, grate Isibhaha, and then mix them with other things, and then uqhele eyadini. So yeah, that's it for Isibhaha. If you have any questions about Isibhaha, you can put them in the commenting section. So this is how I'll be making the videos. I know this is the first one that I've made. It's probably not going to be the best one. If you don't like my voice, please consult with your ancestors. I do not want to know if you don't like my voice. This is free entertainment. If you don't like what I have to say, just unsubscribe and then move on to the next channel. I'm sure there are many people who explain traditional medicine, and they'll probably do it better than I do it. And I'm not the best. Like I said, I'm not a traditional healer by practice. I'm a different type of healer, but I went to school to study traditional medicine, and I'm also a forester. So I understand traditional medicine, and I grew up in a home that used traditional medicine a lot. And my great grandfather was a traditional healer, so I've been exposed a lot to traditional medicine, so I will know more than the average person, but I'm not an expert at it. So my thing is to just bring the scientific background behind it, so it's not just like me explaining something in that has no that is not underpinned by any scientific finding, and that's the problem with the traditional medicine communities, that people just explain things even though what they're saying makes sense. Most people don't tend to take them seriously, or believe them because of their approach to explaining certain concepts. So I wanted to use a different approach. You can give your input in the comments, and thank you for listening. If you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and if you care, follow us on Instagram. Thank you so much.